there. So for those of you who have chickens or who want chickens, I wanted to show you kind of how how we are using them this year. This is sort of a first for us because we haven't had this much property before. But we're doing a rotational grazing system, which is where you move them every 7 to 10 days so that not only are they having new pasture to eat on, but they're also fertilizing new pieces of land so that you're giving that land a better chance of being more nutrient dense, of having more grass to grow and less weeds. And there is sort of a critical time frame there that you want to move them before they decimate any grass or whatever pasture that you're trying to grow. And before there's a parasite overload, which can happen. But not too soon, whereas they're not able to actually do their job, which is to kill the weeds, fertilize the land. I'm watching my son with this chicken, sorry. Hey buddy, be careful with her, okay? I'm gonna show you this. I don't know if you can see, he's like carrying her backwards. Anyway, so it's exciting to see now that we have this in action. We have them in a chicken tractor. We have a Premier One electric fence. We're not actually using the electric part of it yet because we haven't really needed to, but it's super easy to move. My kids and I just did it actually. So I was gonna show you, because this is a really good vantage point to see kind of how this works and what happens in such a short amount of time. So as you can see, the chickens far over there, we just moved them. And you can probably see as well, let me get my glove off here, the patch of land where they just were, right here, where it's brown and you don't see any grass or weeds. But what's interesting is you need to move that way because I'm trying to show them something. Move that way, thank you. Is right here to the left of where they just were is where they were the week before that. And this looked like that 2 weeks ago. And now we're seeing all this green come back in and less weeds, more pasture, and they spent this whole time fertilizing all of this with their manure, which is amazing, so that we don't have to spend the money to fertilize it. So they were clear over in that area. So let's just see the sequence. This is where they were, this is where they were before that, and then the week before that, they were over here. So do you see the progress? It's pretty amazing actually. So we're really excited to institute this rotational grazing system, and we'll just keep moving them around. And actually, by the time they get clear over one more paddock, we could actually just bring them right back here if we wanted to. Clearly, we have more areas to move them around, but we also don't want to be walking clear up the hill to feed them every morning. So anyway, I just thought this was a really interesting way of showing you the purpose behind rotational grazing and why it helps, and especially for gardening purposes or just pasture purposes when we have animals here in the next coming years. This is how we can keep these pastures looking really nice and to put nutrients back into the soil.
She already pooped.
So these are our new ducks that we got a few weeks ago. And today is their first day in their pond. They're so cute. They have definitely grown a lot. We're thinking they're about 6 weeks now. And we actually do have an area on our property where we are gonna hopefully put them back behind our house that is an actual pond. But for today, we're letting them have fun in their little swimming pool here. It's just so cute to watch them. We've been trying to get them out in the grass with our bunnies actually. They go really well together so that they have sunshine, fresh air, green grass, and now we're letting them have a dunk in the pool. Good job, kids.
Swim. Swim like the wind horses. I think I need to fill it up more.
So today I'm out in the garden just doing some more things. We are in the process of hardening off plants, so I'm not planting too many plants, but I'm trying to prepare the soil for the ones that we are going to put in. And there are some things I'm putting in the ground, like seeds that obviously don't need hardening off. But I thought I would show you something I'm doing here to kind of improve the soil where we are putting plants out in the near future. Our soil it's got a lot of clay, I think. It's pretty compact, I'm noticing, plants are still surviving and they're still breaking through the surface, but I want to help them be able to do that easier and to have more nutrients. So I actually have 6 bands of tube sand here, which is a really nice coarse sand that we've used in our chicken coop in the past, and we're not using it right now. And so I'm actually going to mix at like a 30-30-30 ratio. I guess I should say 33-33-33 ratio. Sand, compost from my compost, and then just topsoil that I have collected around the yard when I'm digging things up. And that's going to provide the soil nutrients through the compost, aeration with the sand, and then it's the topsoil adding that extra medium to keep things loose, not too loose, not too thick and compact. And I have some extra bags of potting soil here that I don't need, and so I'm actually gonna throw some of that in. I'm gonna throw my seed starter in because it's all different mediums to create nutrients, to create fluffiness, I guess you could say, loam. And then a lot of sand, again, for aeration. And I'm just doing it right here in my wheelbarrow with things that I have on the property. And then I'm gonna go and I'm going to go shovel it over the area where I'm gonna be putting these plants here in the next week. Let me show you. So I just have my wheelbarrow here. This is actually dirt from pots from our last house that I'm not putting plants in, and I actually found an earthworm in there. So, you know, that's hilarious to me. That tells me there's definitely nutrients in here. And I don't want this stuff to go to waste. And I've got sand that I've dug up and topsoil from the property. I'm gonna throw this extra bag of potting soil in there because I know there's nutrients in there. I wouldn't recommend going and buying potting soil for the sheer purpose of doing what I'm doing. This is just an extra bag that I'm not using. And then I've got my sand over here that I'll pour on top, and then I'll literally just mix this right here in this wheelbarrow, and I'll go and cast it over my potatoes over there. I feel like they need some nutrients and some lighter soil areas, and then some other plots that I've got going that I plan on planting here in the next week or so. Some other fun things that are happening are the tulips that I planted in the fall are coming in, and they are magnificent. I bought some really unique varieties just because I wanted something different, you know, and I wanted to expand on the tulip varieties I've had in the past. And they are, I can tell, gonna be super fun. So I don't remember all the varieties. I have them listed somewhere and I can put them in the description below. But let me show you what's starting to spring up. Spring up, no pun intended. Sure, these are the green wave tulips, and you can tell they have a totally different shape here than most tulips. They have a green and then pink tinged actual tulip that comes up, but we're not quite there yet, but you can see those are gonna be super unique looking. Here are my daylilies that I planted from the other house, so that's fun to see those coming up. These, again, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my list, but these are right about to go, and I can tell they've got some pink in them. I do love pink. And then down here are these beautiful purple ones that are going to be super pretty. So you can see here, I have already been planting. This was from a week ago, or that was a week ago, yeah. And I'm gonna finish planting this row, but what I've done is I've just taken what I put together in the wheelbarrow, the sand, the compost, the potting soil, and I'm mixing it with the topsoil over here. So that's the third component, the topsoil that's already here. So I'm just digging down, I'm kind of stirring it in, and then I will put the rest of my plants in there. And for the plants that are already here and established, I can just come and sprinkle this mixture right on top and then layer another layer of straw, and that's just going to provide another layer of nutrients and material that will compost over time. I want to show you something so that you won't be discouraged in your gardening efforts. This soil is not ideal. And you can see it looks very hard. You know, it's cracking from the wind and the heat that we had the other day, but there is life my potatoes are coming up through this soil. There's one right there. It took them a while. It took them longer than I expected. I wanted to show you these blue potatoes. They're really pretty. But they are coming up slowly but surely. So what I want to do is, as they grow bigger, is I want to come and I want to put a more nutrient dense and loose soil on top of this clay soil that's already here. So again, we're building from the ground up, and then in the years to come, it'll already be established. So if you're dealing with a less than ideal soil, you can use chickens, you can use things that you already have on your property to increase the nutrient capacity of your soil. And life will happen. Life will happen. Even if you've lost plants this season, keep an eye on them. You might be surprised at what pulls through. And seeds, even if it's past your planting date according to the seed packet, try it anyway. Most times seeds grown outside are the hardiest, the strongest, because they've been growing in the elements from day one and not in a pampered environment that you've given them in your house. I like to tell the story of the tomatoes that I grew 2 times, because the first round they didn't take in my house, and I really wanted this particular tomato variety, and I didn't start the second batch till well into May, and they ended up being my strongest tomato plants. So don't give up, even if you don't have the most ideal situations. As I like to say, which I got from my business coach, get scrappy, get resourceful, see what you can find online. It may not be the most ideal and aesthetic situation this year, but as you continue to grow and add to your garden, then every year gets better. And that's the part of gardening. It's the learning curve. It's the every year coming back and getting better. There's always going to be something in gardening that is frustrating. Always. Even master gardeners, seasoned gardeners, they're dealing with something every year. But you get better and you get more efficient and you figure things out and you get scrappy, and that's the fun part about it. So that's what I'm doing here. I don't have a ton of money in my bank to go spend on all these precious ingredients. I'm just using what I have and what I can find, and taking heart that life will happen if I can give it a leg up, right? And as I'm saying that, I'm looking at all these blue potatoes coming in that I didn't think were gonna make it, and they are. So hooray for that.